October 23rd meeting, the planning board to order, and, let's see, take action on the manifest for the 23rd, which is only 24 hours of Jane's time.
Yep, second.
You're making a motion?
I'm.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Yeah.
Moving second to approve the manifest for October 23rd.
Oh, there's a correction on the minutes.
Well, we haven't gotten the minutes yet.
We're not in the minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're up to the manifest. I'll let you sign.
Before
if
you do
wouldn't
the
mind signing
minutes,
that.
let me know.
If they approve it.
I
if you
can't
would
do
sign it,
anything
so I
to
don't
vote on
go
it,
off
but there's a
without
All
signing.
those in- Any discussion on the manifest? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. So vote unanimous. Okay, now we'll do the minutes.
Thank you.
Harriet,
Let me see. God, there's so many pages here.
Yeah.
I have a minor correction while Harriet's looking.
okay,
On page 1, like the fourth paragraph down, after 201.2, I believe the word wetlands, oh, no, wetlands do not include. Okay, no, I take that back. Thought there was a typo there, but it reads correctly.
okay.
I had one on the first page,
Yes, sir.
second from the bottom paragraph.
Mm-hmm,
What one is
At the
that?
end of it, it starts out, Mr. Shubahoot.
yeah.
You get down on the bottom line,
October 5th.
is this will make it more difficult. That it already is. It should be then.
Oh, Dan, yep, right.
So
Okay,
what do you
Jane?
want it to say? This will make it more difficult than.
Dan, it already is.
Instead of that,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Chairman's here, so
Yeah, Pete's taking over, okay.
No, you keep going.
It's got all
I
kinds of.
gotta
things.
get shut down.
you find your comments, Harriet, yet?
Jane, on 925, you have Tom St. Martin as an abutter from Deerfield. He lives in Candia.
But this was minutes of 9:25? Oh, we approved those already.
Yeah, they're already done. We're on
I
October
wasn't
9th.
here, so I couldn't
Yeah,
tell
I
you.
know, no, I'm sorry, but I don't have them with me. They were approved at the last meeting, I
Okay.
believe.
And then, I've got one that's page 4, that you put T, but you didn't put the O, and I think you want to put an O with it.
Is this on the October 9th minutes?
Yeah.
October 9th, okay, what,
Page 4.
page 4, and whereabouts now?
I'm trying to find in all this paper.
Well, I know you've got minutes that go back over a month.
I got them all at once.
Yeah, well, no, I know. They approved most of them last meeting, unfortunately, so.
Okay, I know it's on page 4, because I said I'll remember it was page 4. And now if I can find the one that's page 4.
Oh, yeah, there's a bunch.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, the last one. I can find it. Ah. That was him.
This is the one in Mountain Road.
Well, there's some minutes in here that has a T, and I think an O is supposed to go with the T.
A T. Lost.
That's tonight.
Were they on October 9th?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it, but I'm not finding it. And I know I put,
Harriet?
I got them.
Oh, you did?
I
She's
just,
got him, she can't find one.
All right, so it's like 1,
I wrote it,
2, 4, 5,
oh.
6,
after
6
the-
paragraph down, Chair Peter Shubahoot starts out. If you get down like the third line,
It's on page 4.
yeah. The third line down, right in the middle, it says public hearing T, consider. Maybe that's what.
Yeah, you're right.
Where, I'm lost, I didn't get to
Okay,
what you
right here.
said, Pete.
Page 4, down
Page
here.
4,
Page 4,
okay.
you go all the way down.
Middle of the page, big paragraph.
Yeah.
It starts
Big
with chair.
paragraph.
Yeah,
Oh,
Like
you
the
found
third,
it,
the
Bill?
third line down,
okay,
right in the middle,
yeah.
says public hearing T.
Okay, I see it.
That's probably the one
Read
you're
it
talking
all.
about, yeah.
Okay,
That was it.
found it.
Thank you, Bill.
Good job, Bill.
Good eyes, that's good.
Good for something once in a while.
All right, can we have a motion to approve well,
So move.
Can we have a motion to approve the minutes?
is there a second?
Abstain.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so minutes and the manifest, Mr. Chairman, are taken care of.
Okay,
Taken care of, so we're,
I see we're gonna have a meeting on Saturday.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll be there. You gonna make it? Bill? You can make
Yeah,
it?
I should,
I have work, but
No.
I'm gonna come here.
Okay,
this Saturday,
Yeah.
I'm in
Okay,
Alton.
that's fine.
I'm gonna be in Alton, I'm not gonna be here.
All right, well, we'll be there.
vote.
No, I like to be.
So does that constitute an official meeting if there are more than 3 planning board members present?
It is an official meeting.
Yeah.
It has to be an official meeting.
Yeah, it is.
Fred keeps the minutes.
Um,
Yeah, somebody does.
And I guess because we are having a meeting that Northwood's coming.
Right,
I'm not sure who in Northwood, they left it kind of open.
hopefully
It
somebody.
would be good if someone had a sign-in sheet, so you
Mhm.
can track who's present,
Yeah,
and then that would really qualify as the meeting minutes.
yeah.
Yep.
Just have to date it and all of that. Pete, were you giving me the head nudge?
Yes, it's your turn.
All right.
Because when I looked at my email, and then I called Jane earlier today, and she said that she was gonna try to get you in, so.
So, so Cam and I have been working since, what, January, December? I don't know when we started, on the town and the school capital improvement program.
Oh, right.
So I'm hoping everyone has, do they all have a packet?
Yes.
So you have two things. One is a spreadsheet, and one is this packet, and that's what we want you to take a hold of right now.
Yeah.
This one's signed.
This one signed,
I got that one signed, and here's the.
okay.
And it says on the top of the page, they're all Town of Deerfield capital projects.
Should have given to everyone, but if you don't have one, I have an
This
extra.
Jane, did you say?
This is yours right here,
It's in front of me.
and here's your spreadsheet.
Okay.
We're missing the spreadsheet.
She had it in front of me.
Remember this? It was right underneath that, folded in half.
All right, everybody have that?
Yeah,
So let's look at the spreadsheet real quickly. Believe it or not, this took that long to figure out. And what went into this? So this seems simple, right? You've got names of projects. They're under different categories: general government, fire department, transfer station, police department, and school district. Then you have the years and you have the dollar amounts. So it took this long for a couple of reasons. One, to really talk to everyone involved, whether that was town staff or the school board or consultants, to help us figure out really the scope of the projects and the cost estimates. I feel very confident about this, cost estimates, for at the very least, the school district, because we were very much involved in getting those numbers. John Harrington, I think, would tell you he would feel pretty confident in the town numbers. So you see, for example, what they're hoping to get on the warrant this year would be the town office fire safety improvements, the central station upgrade and relocation, the new police department building, and in the school side, phase 1 of decommissioning the modular units that are now 20 or 25 years old, and looking at a school expansion. So basically the conceptual planning for that. And then finally this year, the gym floor replacement, which is a pretty big safety issue. And then you can follow the rest of the projects. The outline that you have, the packet, describes every one of these projects. And so we can get further into the projects. So how would you like to continue on this? Ideally, what we would have is we would have you review all these, and then you would vote to forward this to the Board of Selectmen to then have consideration for the Budget Committee. It's what would typically happen here. If you want, I can go over every single project, or we can just focus in on 2020.
Excuse
We should
me,
just stick with
Yeah,
2020.
probably.
Go ahead, Harriet.
Fred, I thought the selectmen weren't going to put in the police station for this 2021.
We had decided to put it in there. I don't know if we're gonna end up going with the full 1.4 million, or whether we'll just end up going for preparing plans, but, yeah, they decided to include that.
So the combination safety complex is no longer an idea. It's two separate buildings.
It's,
That's the way everybody's leaning.
yeah, it's kind of the way it looks right now, yeah. Although personally, I probably would prefer to see one building.
If it even has a chance, it's only gonna be one building. And that's just the way things have gone in the past.
Yeah,
Did you get a chance to talk to the Farmington architect that was the builder architect that built their fire station? The one I showed the selectmen?
No, I didn't, I don't know if Andy went over there or not, but I wasn't involved with that.
I still have those plans.
Oh, you do, okay. It'd probably good to be able to take a look at those.
Obviously, you've done some legwork to come up with numbers.
We have, by the way, what we didn't include in this packet, because I don't see this as the final meeting on this. This is sort of an introduction, an update of where we are, to let you know we feel pretty good about dates, priorities, the numbers, having met often with both town staff and with the school board and with school staff. What the final packet, Cam will put that together. That includes appendixes that are cost estimates, more information, and so on. So that's not included tonight. This is really an overview, so that the next time you see this, you'll see a more thorough packet. But as far as the projects, these summaries are pretty solid.
Yeah.
I'm not that familiar with the process, so I guess wanted to follow up on Fred's thought about why the fire department and the police department upgrades were separate. Where is that decision-making
I can't,
happening?
those are great questions. We were not involved in that part of the process. What we were only involved in is trying to have the different departments provide us with their projects that they
Excuse me.
wanted to go
Could
forward.
you guys keep it down, please?
You know, the microphone is
The
turned
mic-
on,
yeah.
and
Oh,
that's the
geez.
trouble,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry.
So let's review the process. So the capital improvement program is a 6-year resource. It's a tool for Board of Selectmen, Budget Committee, Planning Board, the town, to really take a look at large capital projects that are needed for the town to partake in as the town grows and, expectations of residents change. Systems always, whether you have a facility like the town hall needing repair or fire equipment that needs to be replaced. So that's why you see a variety of projects here, from the town elevator to an emergency paging system, South Station facility improvements, and so on. So there's a lot in here. And when you look at the school projects, for example, the decommission of those units and expansion of the facility, there's a lot within those projects. Let's see, what else can I tell you? So that's a 6-year program, and typically it's up to the planning board to put this together and to provide this to the town. You as a group need to really consider these. You can review the priorities, and you have full authority to say you think you can recommend different priorities here. That can be a recommendation. But I'll tell you that both the school board and the Board of Selectmen voted on these priorities and on the years that you see.
Right.
So is it safe to say that those two items that I pointed out, the fire station and the police department, don't, because even though they're listed separately, that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't be combined into
I
a
would not
safety
say-
complex?
No. That doesn't mean that they can be combined at all. I would recommend reading through whatever we were provided on those. My understanding is that if that was looked at, it's not the conclusion that they wanted it separate. Where's that? What page is that?
The police is on the first page, the central station is number 3
Because I
on
think-
page
Where's
2.
the police?
I think it would be appropriate
First page.
if
number
the
2.
planning board
Oh, there.
felt that the two facilities or two structures should be combined. could-
We get a past history of trying to get a safety complex, and it's been voted down more than once.
But I think a lot of that is, it's trying to put too much in the one building.
Right.
So that, the number is
Well-
scaring everybody.
Yeah,
The big impact on those numbers is, first of all, where it goes has a lot to do with how much it costs.
One option here, and when I was in Exeter, we had town staff come and provide a presentation on the projects, so that it's not, Cam and I presenting, it's the people who want the
Oh, no,
project.
exactly.
And so we can
I
invite
think I'm missing that
these
part also.
representatives from these departments to come and talk to the board.
Did you read the minutes of the police building committee? They met for a year. Did you get those at all?
No, we were just given what you're seeing as
I
far as
think you
this,
should,
as far as this goes.
It's like, you know how this
And
is.
our budget wouldn't even allow that.
I certainly think
We
that
have
we
a pretty
could
tight budget, Harriet.
Yeah.
Very tight.
request that
Yeah.
those two be combined or that be discussed.
Well,
they seem
We
to
know.
think that they could get a police department alone.
No.
I wouldn't vote for it.
no,
That tells you right there.
you know,
I think, I don't know, two,
Do I take it that we're thinking that separating them will make it more likely that one or both will be approved by the town?
My opinion is that the best chance of these things happening would be combined. It's my opinion. Also,
Mine too.
it's it really needs to know, it has to be determined on where it would be, because in this town,
The intent is right across the street.
okay. And because certain areas in town are better to build than others, that's all it comes down to. Some are certainly better. It's tough because people,
Is there any way to put a building like that in stages?
Oh, yeah.
oh, you can build a building in phases, but
Right.
it's just a matter of,
Well, I'm looking at how to approach the town,
oh, no, I agree.
you know.
I mean-
If you use smaller numbers,
Well,
Yeah.
It's more expensive if you do it that way, Bill, and that is
well,
It's true.
part of the reason.
it's a double-edged sword.
yeah.
It's,
But I mean, you know,
It's-
10
it's-
years ago, the price was a lot cheaper than it's gonna be today. And it
Right.
failed.
you know, that's the issue,
the
is
more-
that
the
it's
longer
been
this
getting
takes.
pushed down the road and the numbers keep going up.
Right.
Right.
If you could see the building I brought and showed the selectmen that Farmington built for the builder that was a design build, you would see that it's less expensive than the monstrosity they wanted to build on the corner,
know it, yeah.
which would have required rebuilding that curve and everything.
Yeah,
Putting it across the street, as Fred suggested, because the pre-existing septic was already there,
yeah,
we would end up with spending less.
yeah.
And I agree. Personally, I wouldn't go for one, I would go for the combined safety complex. And that's my personal opinion, but I know from what I hear out there, that would be pretty much anybody's.
Yeah. I mean, based on most of the towns that are our size, like Epping is, you know, a lot of the town, like Canterbury, they're all safety complexes.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, when I drive around, that's what I see, and I'm sure you know that. You know, a lot of the people combine them because of the funds. I mean, I guess the big thing is,
Well, if you compare yourselves to Chester, similar size,
Yeah.
rural community, they have a separate facility. So you'll find some communities that are separate, you'll find some that are the same.
right,
Okay, the town of Ware, larger than you by quite a bit, twice the size, but also very rural and one facility,
yeah,
although separate, right,
yeah.
but one facility.
It's just tough to get a building built.
So, although I don't know that this is where that conversation is really, you know, I don't know that if you're gonna say you don't wanna put this forward the way it is, that can be the recommendation, or we can ask John Harrington or someone from fire or police to come in and talk to you about the decisions of why it was put forward the way it is. But I think those are really so we can either try to invite someone to come to another meeting and postpone moving this, or, I mean, what are the options here?
One thing, in meetings, November and December, as we discussed last month. Already November is full.
Yeah.
So I've got one meeting in December.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know where, you want to go with this. I'm just saying
And I
because
think
of the
December will be
holidays.
zoning.
I'm sorry.
And I think
Yeah.
you can do a special meeting for a capital improvements.
Oh, I'm sure we can, that's
mean,
why
that's
I'm bringing
got
it
to
up.
be-
We'd have to set a special
But I-
meeting date.
I think that the original thinking of the selectmen was that we had voted down 4 times a safety complex, but we desperately needed a police station.
Yeah.
And so they put in a police study commission.
But this,
I will not vote for a police station. I'll tell you right now, as a citizen, I'm not gonna vote for one half of what's needed.
Yeah.
your numbers here on the fire and the police station, you got 2 million and then 1.4. What does that include? What does that do?
Those are very good questions.
You know,
We cannot answer them.
Is that to fix what we have, or is that for a new building?
The,
I would strongly urge that what we do is invite either John or someone from fire and police to, unless there are other projects on this list, but that aside from, so we have $78,000 for the fire safety improvements. I believe that's for this building.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
2 million for the upgrades and 1.4 for the police. So I would think, since no other departments besides police and fire are
You want to keep that?
involved in the controversy,
Yeah,
I
why
mean,
don't you
we
keep
can
it at the
talk a
next one?
lot more to the
Okay, so you
school
can keep that and we'll just
projects
refer
Right.
to
than the
it.
town, because we were just given what we have.
Yeah.
We met with those departments, we explained what we needed to have, and this is what we got. So I'm thinking it'd be better at like the next meeting to bring it in under other business so that you can hear what those folks have to say. But we unfortunately have, as you can see, limited
Yeah.
information.
right.
So, Fred, you're on the select board, correct?
Mhm.
Do you have any insights to offer on
Well,
the
the,
subject?
the 1.4 million for the police department is estimate for the building. It's, does not, it doesn't have any information with regard to actual plans, so this is a ballpark estimate based upon the square footage that would be required, so it's basically the building
Basic
on
building.
per square foot.
Is there a location?
Yeah, it's right
designated?
across the street.
Okay, and what about the fire department?
Same place.
The,
A
as you
separate
read
building?
the information that's on the fire department, it, to be honest, it's ambiguous. It talks about problems with the building itself, but it doesn't say that this is for a new building.
Right.
The Farmington Safety Complex cost $2.8 million. That was 8 bays,
Well,
one of them being for the police.
What year
So-
was that?
Last year, I've got the plans, I got them from the,
I mean,
Was
something,
that construction and engineering was separate? 'Cause
the,
that sounds low.
the builder, son was the architect, so it was all combined from the company. The design build.
So the design build took care of the engineering as well.
Yes, everything was there. I don't know if the land was included.
It probably wasn't.
I don't know that. I
If-
do know
If it was
what I
on
thought.
town land,
Yeah.
it definitely wasn't included in that budget, because land acquisition and a building and all that, 3.8, 2.8.
I mean, if you're talking, you know, $3 or $4 million is one thing. I think, what was the last one Mark put up, was 13? Something like
It
that.
was quite a bit.
Yeah, so you know, that you might have a shot at that versus some elaborate thing that we keep
Right.
throwing at it, you know?
There's a wording in the write-up for the fire department is a review and guided approach to the future of the fire rescue department is needed to further explore this much needed facility upgrade or replacement, so it doesn't really say.
No, doesn't.
Well, it sounds like it would be good for us to get maybe more
Yeah.
information on this before
Yeah.
we
I would agree.
move.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't the chairman of the police study committee be able to come in and speak to what their discovery was,
Yeah, that
Fred?
would be a good idea.
They would probably be the
Mm-hmm.
best ones because they did the exploration.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can invite them.
Except I don't know who that
The
is.
fire chief can decide
Yeah,
what he
Harrington
wants
was
to tell us
Yeah.
that he
Yeah.
found out because nobody else
Just-
knows.
Just,
Yeah.
so, yeah, we're definitely gonna have to have somebody come in, so
Yeah.
we should contact John, and we could also talk to, you know, Gary.
We need more
and-
information.
Do you want us to do the invite or explanation, or do you want it to come from you?
All right, so what, if we have them come in,
Well, forget the 13th, because you've got the Conservation Commission coming in, and you've got 2 other public hearings already of November. So you gotta get another date, because the other night is the night before Thanksgiving.
Right.
We're not gonna meet then, and then.
So how about just the week after that?
so it would be the
So The
20th,
second and the third.
The 20th?
the 20th.
All right, obviously, I don't have anything set for the 20th,
Right.
because we don't have a scheduled meeting.
November 20th?
So
November
we could
20th?
just do this?
And
Yeah.
just have
Yeah,
this.
this would be CIP stuff, that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
These two issues, or, yeah, the issues for
You
2020
don't have to come.
only,
Cam will come.
highlighting
Yeah.
the fire and the police
I'm sure
department.
Cam will.
Right.
Those would be the priority ones.
Okay,
But we'll,
So that's basically a month
We
from
can
today.
arrange the invitations
Yep.
because Fred served on the
And,
study committee.
perfect. I love
Yeah, we
that
could-
area.
you know, we need to go over those.
Always in favor of saving time.
okay, will Sylvia do that, get the,
Should we also they have thought about combining?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Consent.
The only, go ahead, Harriet.
Can anybody tell me if the schools, I know the schools had a building committee meetings.
You mean for the 2022 or for 2020?
For their plans of what should go into the capital improvements. And I think if we're gonna do a capital improvements meeting, that we should try to get as much of the expensive ones in the same night.
Yeah. Well, I think we want to go on a priority for the fire and the police.
I agree.
And then, this 285 is basically, it looks like they want to, it's gonna cost $285,000 to decommission the modular units.
No,
No?
Sorry.
And facilities expansion?
go ahead.
No, if it
'Cause I can rip
correlates,
them down for $10,000.
it's, the phase one
Okay.
is design,
So they went, so it's
conceptual
design.
design, and it's
Design of the
also
building.
Okay,
a kind of a traffic.
so that's an engineering number.
Yes.
Right. Right.
It's a needs study
Yeah.
kind of thing with
Yeah.
conceptual drawings.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then to get clearer picture on what the addition will look like and all of that.
That would be the design work for the 2022 budget.
Bingo.
Right.
It will be conceptual design,
Yeah.
not final architectural drawings. If you read the description, it's fairly thorough.
No, I understand that, I just,
Peter, could we possibly invite the police and fire and give them an hour to, a police building committee and fire, and give them an hour to explain their numbers, and then invite the school building committee to come in with their report, because apparently they've done a good deal of work.
yeah.
I can tell you that we can pretty much represent the school. I mean, you're welcome to, but we are the ones who, the architect that did the original study for them, he's the one that provided the information, and that is in this already.
Is that
The
Michael
architect-
Green?
No.
The architect that they talked to, is this from a,
Fred,
It's everything is.
well,
in
what
here,
what I'm
guys.
asking, is it from a prior submission that they tried from years ago, or is this an updated one?
They did a study in 2015 or 17?
17.
Oh,
In
identifying all
2017.
deficiencies?
It was a
Yes.
facilities
CMK Architects.
sort of review of what's going on.
Yeah.
It called for a septic system upgrade, which is, you see here, construction of new septic fields. It called for a variety of things, roof repair, so you see the roof replacement. And so what we asked, so they tried to go to other schools, similar in size, to find out what it, you know, if they had modulars, what it took to replace them, what kind of costs did they undertake. They didn't have success. I ended up going to Goffstown and talking to that SAU. I had success there in finding out some numbers. That's where you get the gym floor replacement estimate based on their own actual replacement numbers.
Yeah.
In the end, it took, I can't remember, Fred Mazurka or Fred, anyway, I don't have it in front of me, so I apologize. But the same gentleman who did the architectural review of the building in 2017, he provided us, when we gave him a rough scope of work, he provided us with the estimate. It doesn't come from the school board, their building committee, anything. It is from that architectural firm. And that's all in this write-up.
Okay. The school has been putting away money from the excess funds as allowed under emergency expenditures for the roof, for the gym floor, and how much of that money is already in the costs of what's here.
Good question.
I mean, we replaced the heating,
Yeah,
what, 3-4 years ago with Don Gorman's $220,000 expenditure?
yeah.
It wasn't approved. So, we know that hasn't got to be done. And I'd like to know how much of this money is in the reserves and trust funds that have been put there for the building. And I know there was a roof fund. Did you get that from the SAU, Sylvia?
We can ask.
All right, so
Patty will
we're
have
gonna have a meeting the 20th of November, and it's gonna deal with CIP issues.
Okay,
And we'll see who can come, and we'll listen to what they have to say. And obviously, you know, we're running out of time, because there's not that many meetings left.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll need to have them come in, and, you know, whether it's the people who came up with the numbers, or the chief of the fire department and the police department, see if they want to come in and talk to us. I just think that there's probably a better chance for, in my opinion, that if they were going to get these two items accomplished, they would probably be together. That's just my opinion. And we'll go from there, and then we can, if the school department, or, well, you guys already went and got the numbers yourself for the school issues. Was that just for the floor, or also for the decommissioning too? And, well, the 285 you said is for architectural design and all that, okay.
Conceptual design.
So, and that's,
a
and you
needs
basically
study.
got, okay. All right. So I guess we're having a meeting on the 20th of November.
So we'll have a meeting on the 20th of November at 7 o'clock,
And-
I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Problem.
Let's
Well, that's
Get everybody who we can get
Sylvia
here.
will
Are
contact,
you gonna be able to come for that night, Sylvia?
or you be able to contact the
Well,
individuals?
I'm not positive.
Okay.
But will you contact John regarding contacting the fire? I know he's difficult, I don't have a clue how to reach these people, so,
John had a lot of trouble reaching the fire chief.
yeah, well, I know Rick does too, so I know I'm not
Do you want me
gonna.
to send an email?
My wife
John
does
tomorrow
them,
morning?
Tomorrow.
We'll ask Darlene to do it.
We will
I'll have Tony
contact
call.
John and,
Matt,
excuse me,
Matt,
and
fire
Matt.
chief.
Matt, it's Matt Fisher.
Right.
Matt Fisher
And
and,
then,
Gary?
and Gary.
unless there's somebody else representing them, I guess.
Yeah, unless they have somebody who's done all the work.
Sure, but we will invite them to the 20th.
Okay, that's good. We'll write that on the schedule.
November 20th. And
Get a public hearing in 5 minutes.
Do you want to have a quick run-through on the zoning regulations?
Yeah, we can do a quick running, because we got a
We got a
meeting
yeah, we got a
in
public.
5 minutes, so.
All right, good. So, as you recall from the Gulf Road conversation about, how to go about dealing with when we have a Class 5 road that is not to town standards, and in this case, the homes are in Northwood, and the request is for a subdivision. And so part of that is, right now, the way it is, any existing lot there in Northwood can go in, get a building permit, and be done. And you have more people in that neighborhood, which is a large neighborhood, that are on an inadequate, they're being serviced by an inadequate road and cannot get really proper services. You can't pass 2 cars, certainly can't pass a emergency vehicle and one other car. So, this group asked us to talk with Jim Raymond, and so what you're seeing in front of you is through the utilization of the innovative land use control that's under 674:21. And here, that's the authority that allows this sort of zoning. The purpose is really designed to, I'll put a more positive spin, is to ensure that anything that's built is on a road that is adequate and that can provide adequate services, emergency services, whatever the service is. And so you see the intent of this regulation is to ensure that the building of new homes of any size are built on adequate streets, built to town standards, and are accessible to town staff, et cetera. So what we did was, not only did we talk with Jim Raymond on several occasions and do a lot of back and forth, which you may have seen some of that, we also went and talked to Rick Pelletier and actually outlined every single Class 5 road that does not meet town standards and that would need what we would say would be a conditional use permit from this group. And so you can see the list of roads there. That's why you see on 1.3, building requirement, any new housing unit, including accessory dwelling units, shall be permitted on a Class 5 road or better, which are built to town standards. Then 1.4, Class 5 roads not built to town standards, Class 5 roads that are not built to town standards are listed on Table 1. So we were very specific, because we didn't want someone to go out and measure their road and say, this is not to town standards. These are the roads that are the concern of Class 5 roads. So the conditional use permit, any building permit for a new or additional unit on a Class 5 road not built to town standards, or a Class 5 road listed on the table require a conditional use permit from the planning board. The applicant must justify the road is safe, accessible for town services, has secondary access, and well-maintained in all seasons. It's as simple as that. And so, this, we're just putting it on the table, so I know you have an upcoming planning board meeting where you'll be talking about Gulf Road. This is not whether or not you should approve or not approve that subdivision. This is whether you want to have any footing to say to the town of Northwood or within your own community to say, we don't think a building permit should be issued because of this. There are safety concerns. And so that's what this is about.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Brown Road is excellent up through the transfer station. My understanding beyond that, that road was never opened. That was a Class 6 road that we allowed them to build on with a recorded statement that they would not hold the town responsible if emergency vehicles couldn't get there. Did they open the rest of that road?
Not that I know. I don't even know anything about that.
It was a closed town road beyond the dump. And up to the dump, or the transfer station, the road has been all rebuilt and is in good condition. The Candia Road certainly has problems with drainage, dirt road, and,
Harriet, we can't go over every road right now because we gotta
Okay,
start
but-
another one.
I can
we've got
ask,
roads on here
I
that
can
are
ask-
not open.
I
No,
can
I know.
ask Rick to be more specific about the detail, or I can even provide a map, which I actually did do with Rick. We went over the map and outlined the roads. So it may be that I'm not specific enough in this table, and the map is what's needed, so I can review that.
Okay, but Perkins Road is not, there's no bridge on Perkins Road. I think they're talking about Blake's Hill Road,
Okay.
because my son lived there, so I know that road.
Okay.
This is the, this is the.
All right, so what
notice.
we're gonna do,
And Perry Road's
Is-
not an open road.
this information is good for us for Saturday.
Yeah.
We're gonna need it. If you can come up
Okay.
with a map,
Oh,
that would be
yes,
good.
that I can do.
And getting back to the CIP meeting, if you can make it, that's great. If you can't, Cam will do it. Thank you. I don't have any more questions. Brett, do you have any questions?
No, no, sorry.
Okay, 7:45 is coming past.
Thank you.
We have a excuse me, an application for public hearing. Major application for Pleasant Lake Watershed Ordinance, Daniel and Lisa Stanley, Sunset Lane, Deerfield, New Hampshire. In accordance with the Deerfield zoning ordinance, section 330.6C, you are hereby notified that Tobin Farwell, 265 Wadley Falls Road, Lee, New Hampshire, will make application for a public hearing to consider approval of a major application for the Pleasant Lake Watershed Protection Ordinance land development for property located at 4 Sunset Lane, Deerfield, New Hampshire, identified as tax map 207, lots 49 and 50, owned by Daniel and Lisa Stanley, 4 Sunset Lane, Deerfield, New Hampshire. The intent of the application is to add a 31.5-foot addition, a 24 by 28-foot garage, and an 8 by 8-foot connection. The formal application will be submitted to the planning board of the town of Deerfield on Wednesday, October 23rd, 2019, at 7:45 PM at the George B. White Building. The board will consider acceptance, and if accepted, the board will hold a public hearing at the time. You are invited to attend and offer your comments. If you are unable to be present, the board will accept your comments in writing and read them aloud at the hearing.
Okay, Tobin is,
Do you have plans?
No.
All right,
there's a couple
there's a
there.
couple here. And this is smaller set.
Down, you can share one, they have one.
Okay, yeah, just,
Are you going down there?
Okay, and that one is here.
Oop.
There's another.
Greek to me.
there's
I'm
another.
just gonna get colored one.
What's that?
What number? Sunset Lane.
This, I don't know the number of the house, but it's,
All the
Actually,
fees been
This
paid?
is two.
I'll make a motion to accept the application.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Take it away, Tobin.
All right, for the record, my name is Tobin Farwell, Farwell Engineering Services. Yep, we're here to discuss 4 Sunset Lane. Because the impervious surface of this lot is greater than 20%, we need a approval from the planning board. Currently, as this is the existing conditions plan, I only submitted the proposed conditions plan,
Information.
and this is at 29.87%. This is unusual. Sunset Lane is a private road, so as part of the land area, there's no right-of-way that isolates out the road from the rest of the land. So those impervious numbers count towards or against the applicant. There's a well on the lot. The leach field is at the very rear of the property now, so that was not touched as part of this project. So the first thing that we did is we went before the zoning board to obtain relief. We are proposing to construct a garage. Yeah, it's all one sheet. We are proposing to construct a 24 by 28 garage, a 31 and a half, this is the sheet that you guys have,
Mhm.
31 and a half by 12 addition. There's a porch there now that we are proposing to remove and put the addition, and an 8-foot connector that's gonna connect the small addition to the proposed garage. Because such a large amount of impervious surface, even the DES requires, is looking really towards the 20%, with a max cap. Between 20 and 30%, you have to do stormwater management, which is sort of in line with your regulations. And because we worked through this with the zoning board also requested a drainage analysis, and that's what under Fred's right elbow, is the drainage analysis that we did. And so as part of this project, in order to lower the impervious surface, we are proposing to create a pervious driveway. That's what this brick hatch is, for approximately 1,000 square feet in front of the new garage. Also, the existing Sunset Lane is a gravel road, and it's certainly tough. There's a couple of culverts there that are completely plugged up at this point. The water ends up unable to drain along the sides of the road, spills up and over, and runs down the Stanley's driveway currently. This has been noted by DES to be a problem a lot on the lake. So the DES contacted the Stanleys, and they had some recommendations regarding planting and everything else. So that's certainly why we did so much effort in regards to drainage. And our intention is to fix the culverts, free them up, create swales along the edge of the gravel, and that'll create the most northerly culvert is going to tie into a proposed rain garden that we're proposing to put on site to help mitigate the increase in impervious area and to help detain the flow. We are proposing, right now the driveway goes on this side, and there's a driveway here to service
Lunch pool?
the neighbors. So we're going to eliminate that. We're putting it more of a direct drive in from Sunset Lane. In this area that we're gonna tear up the gravel, we're also gonna construct a secondary rain garden. This area doesn't collect too much, but it seems that if we're removing the gravel, we might as well go through the effort, put some plants in there and some good subsoil and make it infiltrate as best we can. So just running through the drainage analysis, took a look at the took a look at the 2, 10, 25, and 50-year storm events.
Is that, okay,
So for
or is it on that?
blue doesn't come out too well, but really the watershed area, so where all this water flows on site, the largest one is the 2S watershed area, and that flows directly to Pleasant Lake. There is a smaller 1S watershed area that, because of the contours, it flows to the abutting property. Therefore, we created two study points, study point 1 and study point 2. And through all those study points, and because this is where the driveway is now, and that's where we're gonna put the proposed rain garden, there's a driveway, that's how it goes now. We're proposing to direct shot. So many lines on this plan, it's quite confusing. But in all cases, the post-development runoff is a considerable decrease from the pre-development runoff. So this is what the watershed looked like pre-construction, very simple. There are so many sheets on this map. This is the proposed conditions where we've split out the watersheds that are going to flow to the rain garden. Rain Garden 2 receives half the area that from the gravel surface, so much more, a lot of water flows to this Rain Garden 2, very little to the Rain Garden 1, but it still helps. And as part of the recommendation from the state, we are gonna have a vegetated area between the two abutting properties, the abutting property on the northeast, because of also this, our proposed garage. So bottom line, we have still greater than 20% impervious surface, but through mitigation of rain gardens, drip edges along the proposed garage, this project will be less rainfall intense post-construction than it is pre-construction. If you have any questions, the owner, Daniel and Lisa Stanley, are here, and I'm here as well.
So what will the surface of the pervious driveway consist of?
Oh, that was a good one. So we have tried in the past those plastic ones, which are great for down south where nothing freezes.
Right.
But what we're proposing is the precast concrete blocks that you put, and you have that really coarse sand in between the blocks.
Mhm.
And below that, we're having 12 inches of a stone, pea stone, or 3/4 inch stone. You have a detail. So it creates essentially a bathtub. It allows infiltration to happen. Yeah, this is the detail for the driveway. So these are the precast blocks with a gap in between them, and there's a choker course of coarse sand, and then the large reservoir component aggregate base with the sieve analysis required for each one.
I know somebody I was speaking to had the same experience with regard to the plastic
Yeah,
units. You end up catching them with the plow and,
right, right. Again, they work great down south.
right.
Something that I did, also as part of this project, they have a deck now that is above, and there's a patio below, and it's simply stone on the ground. We are proposing to take that is still considered to be an impervious surface. We are going to dig that down, sort of the same profile, and that's what this porous patio detail is about. So here's the deck. We are going to excavate down, put a coarse aggregate 3/4 inch stone, again, creating another way to infiltrate.
Mhm.
My drainage analysis assumes no infiltration. It is kind of pretty crappy soils out there, which will probably be true, but there will be some infiltration. So I believe that my numbers are conservative on that. And this is the drip edge detail as well, that'll be used around the garage, and then the rain garden detail that'll be used at the end of the culvert and where the old driveway will be dug up and this will be created.
Harry has a question.
Go ahead, Harriet.
What's the plunge pool?
Plunge pool, because this is being fed by a culvert, I'm concerned about sedimentation. So the plunge pool is simply a depression with coarse stone in it that will collect the sedimentation before it spills into the rain garden and becomes more of a problem.
It acts like a catch basin to stop the dirt from flowing in. That's what it does.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Only I'm looking at the plan wrong. I'm thinking this is the bottom.
What
It's
are
a
you
hot
gonna,
tub.
what is being done to prevent the culvert from filling back up with silt?
Do you know? I don't know what can be done. It's maintenance, it's clearly,
Just maintenance, basically.
maintenance.
What
right?
size is
They
the
haven't been
culvert?
doing it. I don't know how to, right, it's a private road and it's privately
Yeah.
maintained. I've had discussions with Dan. He helps snowplow it as well.
What size is
Has
the
to-
culvert?
What's that?
What size is it?
Well,
It's 12 inch?
Are you tearing them up and replacing them, or?
I don't think they need to be replaced. I think we can clean them out.
He's shaking his head, yes.
Oh, they have,
You could
Whatever.
possibly up the size, you know, to 15 versus 12,
Lake is,
easier for the maintenance.
yeah,
so this is
yeah.
107.
the key is the maintenance. I
Here.
don't care what
Yeah,
size you put in there.
Well, yeah,
Well, if you put 48 in there, you get quite a bit of time, you know?
Been there, so I know.
A little hump in the road.
Yeah, just put a 48 inch culvert in there, Coleman. You can back the, plus you can dam it up and it'll store some water, okay? Because they act as like a water storage thing there, you'll be all set.
This is, also, we have submitted these plans to DES for a shoreland permit. As of
Mhm.
now, we have not heard back from them, but it is a 30-day review period of time.
Yep. That'll
So
take-
I really, this is the belts and suspenders, this is certainly our best foot forward. You know, if you can see a way to improve upon this plan, I'd be more than welcome to. We tried to, we've used everything, I mean, this is a problem lot, we knew that from the get-go. And we tried to use I mean, especially with that culvert into it, I think that's low-hanging fruit that we can capture that runoff before it causes further erosion on site. I don't know what more else we can do.
And what's the length of your pervious driveway going to be, that section? Doesn't show on the plans.
Nah, I'll have to get my scale.
It looks like
This
it's
is
about
Charles
60
Lane, where
feet,
my friends live.
40 to 60. They're not 20 scale?
Big problem. Where's snow storage?
$46 feet-ish?
Okay. And maybe if you could end up, because after that is gonna be a return back to gravel, right? Is that the
My
intent?
idea, I was concerned about snow plowing, right? I really didn't want they have a pull-off over here, so the idea is that I'd like them to plow this and then dump the snow
Mm-hmm,
in the turnaround area, so you
Yeah.
don't, you're gonna get silt and debris.
right.
You do have to maintain these things, so trying to put the snow dump, obviously, off the porous pavement.
Mm-hmm. But from the end of the porous pavement up to Sunset Lane would end up being gravel.
Correct.
Right, okay.
Are they talking, this is gonna be the snow storage?
Is there a ditch on the
I couldn't see where he's in it, but I think.
west side?
Is this where you come out?
No,
107
really,
and
I
go
mean,
down?
there's supposed to be, there's a soft,
This is-
mucky area.
this is where the
This is
road
all,
comes in.
right now what's happening is this all fills up and
I'm not sure
spills
where you're at,
down
so.
the driveway,
There's Charles Lane, where my friends live.
right? Or it spills down, it overflows, it doesn't reach the culvert, and the culvert's plugged anyway, so
Yeah.
it's forced to go over the driveway and go straight down. I mean, he's got, at least 2 feet wide and
Yep.
that deep where it's rutted it out. And now it's a stone line swale, because all the silt's gone.
Yeah, right. But if, I guess if the intent is
Must be Charles.
to install a new culvert. I think probably putting that on the plan, including that as part of the overall project would probably end up being a good idea. And what, 15 inch we you're talking about?
Yeah, whatever, figure out what size you guys want to put on there.
Right. Well, and I wanna leave, if the culvert's okay, it's just filled, I certainly,
Well, if it's a CMP, get rid of it,
Yeah.
because there's nothing left of it.
Yeah.
And if it's poly and you think it's gonna work,
I think it is a CMP. I can note that on the plan.
Could you orientate me? Is Charles over here?
Monteverdi, who's Charles?
Charles Lane?
I guess I'm sorry, I don't know where Charles Lane is.
Joe McKenzie's lot. Anybody know where I mean? Where the birdhouse burnt?
That's across the lake.
It's across the lake.
No. I've driven down it many times and Sunset's the next one to it. I know that.
what kind of leach field's there already, Tobin?
It was designed by a gentleman named Fred McGarry.
I thought so.
Oh, him.
Well, we better check it out.
I believe
Pretty sure it's a
stone and pipe, but I can't
Pipe,
swear.
yeah, pretty
it
sure that's
stone
pipe
and
and stone, yeah. Because it kind of looked familiar to me, so.
Got them all mesmerized?
Yeah, right. It was a few years ago, too.
Oh, it says BC.
BC. It's quite a few years ago.
I'll just tape.
Yeah, right.
Well, so you're waiting for your shoreline permit?
Yep.
And DES is reviewing the plan, or they already have?
No, they're reviewing it, they said, yes, we accept your application and wait till we review it, you know.
And we'll let you know, yeah.
Okay.
That'll probably take the 30 days.
Yeah, I think they're pretty busy.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys want to do?
Well, somebody may want to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Anybody from the audience have any comments about the plan?
Or any
She
questions?
has.
The only thing I've been concerned about is the runoff into my property, but hopefully that won't happen if this is done. But it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one is your property?
Right now, the water runs down into my property.
Are you the Stevensons?
No, Hume.
Okay.
It
Well,
runs
it
down
looks
the
like-
driveway and into my property.
So it looks like right now that they're actually trying to stop a good percentage of that water coming your way based on what they're doing. But I would also say that a lot of the water's coming right down the road and heading that way as well, doesn't it? Runoff from the road,
Yeah, it's runoff from the road that runs down their driveway now.
and then it comes onto your property.
And then because they have a little stone wall at the end of the driveway.
So basically, the road is funneling the water down to both of your lots, their lot as well as yours.
Yeah, but more so down their driveway.
Yeah.
It's eroded out, it is kinda crappy,
So when's the last time the road was graded?
a few weeks ago. It's done twice a year.
So,
My concern is these rain gardens and the construction thereof, and if that's a viable long-term solution. I mean, I know you've had, Monteverdi's the name that comes up to me. And I know that guy had something engineered that wasn't from around here, but I still think the things will clog up faster than everybody thinks, with silt, with, pine needles, hemlock needles, it's detritus, vegetative matter, and then, it's not gonna work. And then there will be a runoff issue.
there's a runoff issue right now as well, right? Okay.
Yeah, certainly the important thing is to
Maintenance.
maintain these once they're constructed, because what's Tobin is showing now would certainly take and do a good job of collecting this runoff and hopefully infiltrating it before it creates a problem. But just like any drainage facilities that aren't properly maintained, problems will develop.
So the road is a private road.
Yeah.
And how many people actually participate in maintaining it?
You don't know.
I don't know,
Chris-
we'd have to ask Chris Nelson.
Chris Nelson, I work,
I know who he is.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
He maintains it quite well. The area that is my property and Lisa's property, even though it's been maintained, because the culverts, were destroyed, because there's no other ways for the water to be carried down evenly, which will be maintained, and if it needs to be maintained yearly, they will be maintained yearly.
Yeah.
It doesn't, we maintain our property extremely well.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously behooves you guys to take care of it because the water's coming right at you.
Well, it's already exactly, it's destroying our property as it is, and we're also concerned with being labeled as a red zone for DES with the contaminants coming from the rainwater straight into the lake. So we went to DES, said that we would spend the money that we need to make sure that the water doesn't get into the lake, so we can keep it the way that it is. We have no problem with maintaining the property.
How deep can you get in the ground there, Tobin?
We haven't done test bits, but, they did, there's a force main, there, so I'm certainly anticipating that we can get a couple feet.
Yeah.
That's all we need for the rain garden, a couple feet.
Anticipate that DES will put any, condition the approval on
These
maintaining
done
rain
yet?
gardens?
No, typically they don't.
Right.
And the variants are given.
It's a
I'm
sticky wicket.
I'm just wondering, how does that long-term work out?
Right, it's on the, this is a weird one too, is it's a private road. It is on, we're talking about two things. The culvert, if you can keep the culvert open enough, and it's nice that it's all above ground, so you can see when the sediment is in there. It's, these underground stuff, it's difficult to know what's going on, but this one, you'll start off, you'll see a bunch of large stones in the plunge pool, especially, and then over time, all of a sudden, you'll see it looks like sand, and that's when you know you have to dig out the sand and see the stone again.
Or has trees starting to grow in it?
Yeah. You go right to the obvious.
It's a little unclear where the outflow from Rain Garden 2 goes. Does it stay on the property?
Yeah, because of the topo really does fall parallel to the lake. It heads directly to the lake. There is this wall that they sort of impedes the flow. So it's the intent that it will fall, perpendicular to the topo lines through the vegetated area that we're proposing and go into the lake.
What are you planning on putting in the vegetated area?
Native species.
Japanese, you talking about Japanese knotweed? Is that what you're talking about?
Purple loosestrife and.
It's everywhere now.
Please.
I'm not a plant guy, and,
I guess you guys.
Some
yeah,
good,
right.
DES gave us a list of recommendations that they would like to see on the lake, not just in the state, but what they would like to see on the lake. And I've had Able Landscaping over a couple times now, who's a local,
Yep.
who's
Okay.
very good with working with the lake. And we discussed, almost 2.5 hours the other day on ways of making sure that we can capture everything.
So is DES gonna ask for a planting plan, you think?
They're pretty, well, the DES will just say it has to be native, non-invasive
Okay.
plants.
Yeah.
Right, that's all that they want.
Okay.
But we also, there was, on the moose plate, for the state of New Hampshire, the lake was given about a $60,000 grant, that if you were labeled, in a red zone, that you could submit into the state to be part of
Get a grant for plants?
They're willing to pay for a little bit, but my thing is, they had an engineering company also come out already that, was before Tobin, and it was nice that they were able to give to Tobin to show the ideas, and then they kind of worked together. Obviously, the culverts are gonna
Okay.
be a huge thing, because as Fred said, the water comes straight down the road, and it's not that my property's gaining on the water, it just happens to come right down on us, which is why we were labeled a red zone.
Yep.
Which is why it was important, as even before this addition, it was important for us to make sure that we handled so that the lake wasn't being affected.
Well, you still need to get your shoreline approval and DES equipment, approvals. I mean, from what I can see on the plan, everything looks pretty good to me.
Yeah.
I don't see anything that,
I mean, I guess at this point, we could go for a conditional approval.
Yeah, let's see, we're gonna need a place for you to sign on these things too.
Not yet. No.
I don't know if your final plan will have a signature.
Oh, I don't
These
have a
don't get
signature
recorded.
block.
Want a signature block for
Oh.
the chairman.
And here, I can give you guys this more complete set, right? Then I gave you
Actually,
just a proposed
Yeah,
set that
like,
says existing
we want a
and
full
details.
set of plans
Yeah.
for, when everything is all squared away.
Oh, with the shoreline approval. and
Everything, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
And then,
perfect. Yeah, I'll have a signature block on it.
With the-
and all the information, like the length of the driveway, size of the culvert. Even if you guys could take anything that you got, like from April for plants and stuff, and just put that on there.
Plant list.
Yeah, plant list.
Would you like the list from the state as well, from DES?
Well, I guess,
what you're actually gonna put in.
actually go with what you're gonna put in,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
listing a whole bunch of plants, and if you're only gonna have a few of them, it really, it's kind of fruitless to do that, so, get a list of what you guys are gonna put in there, and, I'm trying to see if there's anything else that,
Isn't Sunset
we're
Lane
gonna grant.
is there
a park?
another culvert on Sunset Lane prior to that one going into the first rain garden? Would that make a difference?
No.
Okay, I'm just asking.
There's a culvert here, right? That exists.
Okay, that one there. So
Oh, yeah, I see it.
is that catching anything?
It's in the same condition this one is.
Okay.
Are you gonna fix them both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, again.
Sunset Lane
right.
comes right off of.
And we're working with Chris
This
Nelson
road.
on how we can make as much of a catch pool, out of the top one.
Yeah, good.
Because we abut,
That's 107,
properties
right?
on top.
Yep.
So we're supposed to-
How much room is on the other side, on the east side,
Not much.
where that culvert
So
comes in?
there's
You
another
know, the
one.
road creeks, right?
Yeah,
So it's gotta be reshaped and
Mhm.
the ditches have to be reclaimed.
could you put a plunge pool on the other side too? No?
I
or do you
would
think
not, just
somebody-
'cause it'll fill so quickly, right? You know.
I was just,
Plus,
people
leaves,
drive into it, or,
People drive into it.
yeah, okay.
You can't build it big enough. We don't wanna get close to that septic.
That's right. So we're looking at a conditional, I mean, a.
Conditional?
Conditional based,
Conditional use permit, is that what it is?
No.
no, this would be an
Just
approval.
conditional approval.
This would be approval.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a CUP.
Based on this plan and the approvals from the state, the culvert,
Plant list.
and the plant list.
Signature block.
Signature block,
block, right.
which really isn't.
Does it just need, is it just the chairman signing?
Yeah, just the chairman's signature. It doesn't get recorded.
Just
on-
like to see his signature, that's all.
Yeah,
It's his fault.
I'll make a motion to grant conditional approval based on the items that we've discussed to be included on the plan. Conditional approval lapse, you got 60 days, just in case they come back and want more information?
60 days sounds good.
Second.
Second, Bill?
Yep.
Okay,
All those in favor?
All right,
okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good, you're welcome. Tobin, you want these plans back?
No,
Okay.
put that drainage study in the file.
Yeah, I'll keep the drainage study, yeah, that's-
Okay.
Not the circular file.
that I want to keep, yeah, that'll,
Okay. 8:15, okay, well, not that bad.
this is a continuation, so,
We don't have to read it, so.
Huh?
Do we have to read it?
no, it's continuation, so let me,
Oh,
they were
yeah.
waiting for wetland
Okay.
approval, that's why they asked for the continuation. And let me,
Can we get one copy of the, he would like one copy of the plan.
sure.
I'm not gonna throw it away.
you're not sure?
We don't share those.
So maybe we can
Is that two, maybe two? You want two?
Oh, yeah, but thank you, sure.
Yeah, one, we got
Two?
two spare.
I'll give you another one then. There you go.
Thank you again for all your time.
Okay,
That's that, okay. that
Get
goes
some
in.
more plans. We're passing them down,
Oh, he's passing them down now.
the plans right there.
Get more?
Oh, you mean,
Talking about the one we just did.
Oh, okay, let me see, I gave them, I don't know if I've got any left.
the one,
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Excuse me. That's the last.
Is this
of
the
it.
conceptual
This is-
plan that
I got the
was
drainage.
discussed?
I just want to check something out, I can give it back.
Okay, that would be good,
Yeah.
because that's,
I don't,
that's the last one.
I don't have my plan set for this. Open space. Stuff to do.
This one's easier for you.
Might be.
This is Gulf Road again? Oh,
No.
Candia Road, okay.
This isn't Gulf, no.
This is
Candia.
Middle Road,
This is Candia Road, yeah.
Candia Road? Middle Road.
and Middle.
Go ahead, Jim.
My name is Jim Franklin. I'm the land surveyor that prepared these plans that are before you. And I will sum this up very quickly. There have been no changes since the original hearing. We received the state subdivision approval, and we received approval from the DES for the installation of the culvert, based on the plans that were submitted to you and to them.
Okay.
and we have the wetlands approval?
Yes. Yeah, they're not on those drawings that you have are the originals that
The
we
old ones,
submitted.
okay.
I said, the only thing I changed was to add the approval numbers to the plan. When we did this originally, we had the wetlands delineated, we did a topographic survey, and then we had the soils mapping done. We felt that due to the conditions on the property, that it was necessary to have this type of detailed soil survey done.
And you already got the wetlands permit.
Yes.
So is that the only thing that was,
Is that what we were asking for, or? You didn't have it at the time you came the
Correct.
first time.
That's
We
that's
had,
why
we
I
had
asked.
just submitted.
Yeah, that's why we had to continue.
That's why they got the continuation. That was the only reason.
We received approval about, from the Wetlands Board about 2 weeks ago,
Okay.
and from the DES for the subdivision approval, about a week ago.
oh, okay. So all we really need is just the wetlands approval number and the subdivision approval number and put on the plans and they'll be all done.
And monumentation set? That's it,
Monumentation,
yeah.
right?
Yep, as you can see, I've shown granite bounds to be set there at the back corner,
Yep,
because it is a little far removed from the rest of the property. And if anybody's had a chance to go out there, it's pretty straightforward. 320 square feet, of fill for this. It's basically dropping a 36-inch culvert into a 36-inch deep gully. A little more involved than that, but, that's basically it.
Could we get a 72-inch in there?
What?
This is, Jim highlighted all that, so
oh, yeah.
you need a 36-inch culvert.
Oh, one of the things you did ask for before was to add the remaining frontage for the lot 88, which we did add to this. It should be on yours, it's the 40648.
48, yeah,
Yep.
plus 3015. Okay, so you're showing the culvert on the sheet. On the next sheet.
Yeah, the wetland crossing detail is on the third sheet.
Yep, okay.
One of the things some of the other communities have been asking for is, when there is a third sheet like this that is not going to be recorded, is to put a note on sheet 1 and/or 2 that there is additional information on file in the planning board office.
Good idea.
And I think it's a good, especially in a case like this.
Yeah.
If he sells the lot, and the builder comes in and he says, hey, and he just starts building.
All right.
I'm okay.
Looks like it's fairly easy.
Wait,
for us.
Well, like I said, questions about this? Okay.
Oh, I thought
Jim's
she
son.
did.
Oh, okay.
This is,
No, no. Well, no, you could be going, Dad, what are you doing? I get it all the time from mine. What are you doing?
Why are you doing it?
He'll make a motion to grant conditional approval to the Cassia Family Trust subdivision on Candia Road, subject to the final plan showing the wetlands and subdivision approval numbers and certificate of monumentation from Mr. Franklin. And conditional approval expires in
How many you need? How many days?
30 days?
Yeah. I don't know for sure, because I haven't talked with Mr. Castier since
All
we
right,
started this.
let's go 90 days.
Yeah, and he could be here, there, and everywhere. Who
Okay.
knows?
okay,
Yeah.
We need a second.
90 days, okay.
And I
All
know
those-
he
all
probably
those in
needs to pay
favor?
some fees.
Aye.
Okay, Bill,
Recording fees probably need to be paid, so we have to track him down.
So we get this. So all these forms are here,
okay.
and we got a couple more, whatever.
Usually do.
Okay.
That was the last.
We got a report from
I got two.
two.
Two, yeah.
One just came in yesterday.
Yeah, I read this one.
Please let me know.
This road my son lived on. There is no bridge on it. It was open. It was open for, here's what it is. The bridge is
Well-
on Blake's Hill Road.
They're progressing.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw
They
that.
definitely is.
I haven't gone up there since
Blake's Hill.
this, but the last time I went up there, it was just on the
I
ground,
think that's
so.
where they.
Sounds like he's got it in
His
place
road is a dirt
that's
road.
good.
It's
and
closed.
backfilling.
I mean, especially after last
On my
night.
son's lot.
Oh, yeah.
He
you know,
subdivided out a
that's good.
3.5 acre lot, and that was the end of it.
Okay.
But
Keeps
the
going.
road leads
Cameron's
down, you could use a skidoo to go
going.
down in
Yeah.
the winter, or maybe
He goes to
four-wheel drive
Florida for the winter.
to go down to Blake's Hill. It's going to
Okay.
Blake's Hill.
Harold, did you have any issues?
Not right.
Not to address this,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But thank you for asking.
Okay.
Should I duck?
He's just checking us out.
That's all right. So we're gonna have a pretty good-sized meeting on the 20th of November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hope, you don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna be discussing the stuff, and,
Yeah,
you know, if they're trying to get it on for a warrant article,
Yeah.
By January 10th.
so how long did this get popped up on you, or you guys been kind of working on it?
Certainly had the study committee had worked on it, and in fact, they were the ones that chose,
Across the street?
recommended this site across the street. And so it made sense to the Board of Selectmen. I didn't see any backup information with regard to the 2 million for the fire station and what that was going to consist of. So that would be a good idea to have somebody come in and explain that to us.
Yeah.
you all set with that?
Yeah, there's two things in my
I-
mind. Sunset Lane up by Daisy Park.
Yeah, hard road.
Yes,
Well,
it-
it's
yes, it
inside.
is.
And this
Yeah, I
shows it.
I think it is, I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
Yeah,
and
but it shows it down
to
at
be
the
honest,
end of the lake. Here,
I would-
project.
Oh,
So it's not where I think it is.
I'd be reluctant
know where
to
the
spend
Nelsons
2
is.
million
There's
on
two
the facility that's there
names.
currently.
Sunset.
oh, geez,
New
Harriet,
stuff
I don't,
there.
I
Oh,
never
yeah.
did
Oh,
come during,
Yeah.
they've been to the
No,
ZBA and
that's-
a few times.
Um,
And I know where the
But
I
Nelsons,
Now,
know where Charles
they had made
Lane is, Sunset.
mention
Beyond
of
it, and then
using
Daisy Park.
the existing
Yeah.
leach field.
So if
Yeah.
you look when
No.
you drive down.
yeah,
hasn't been
well,
updated
again,
for a
I know
while,
where
right?
Chris
No, it's a
Nelson lives, and I'm
Pipe and
assuming
stone
Sunset is.
system, basically designed for.
Obviously, he's in a butter, so,
So it's
But that
flow-wise,
shows it
yeah.
in the area
Oh.
it has
where,
the capacity.
It isn't
But how old is it?
leaking or
It's
anything.
guys
not that I know,
saying-
well, I haven't been down there.
Never down,
You
yeah.
mentioned- you said
all
there was a
overgrown.
fire there or something?
Yeah,
We've got trees and stuff
Yeah,
growing.
I'm
Not
not sure.
Charles,
Which is not
it's
good.
not
So which
Joe
means it's gotta
Mackenzie's
be
up here by
rebuilt.
Daisy
Right.
Park,
Oh,
Because-
okay.
You
which
can't
is
put that
Charles
tree
Lane.
growing on your
Okay.
side.
No,
And I did a tax.
They grow
abatement,
great.
So I know.
Yeah,
that.
right.
You know, that's the
Yeah.
they're
place.
not helping anything,
I'm.
especially when you
yeah.
pull
This
out the
shows
pipes
it
and it's
down
full of
here at
roots.
the point.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay.
it's not, it's
I
there,
don't know. I don't,
but it's
I've
gonna
never
have to be
been.
reconstructed.
I'm gonna go check it
Because you're
out.
not
Go
gonna
check
add
it
two
out.
more buildings on an old leach field.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
So,
For the matter of being practical about it. Because the last thing you wanna do is have new buildings and inoperable septic.
all right,
Yeah.
true.
Well, the state probably wouldn't allow it anyway.
Well, if the capacity's there, they would allow
Yeah.
it, but, you know, based on age,
Yeah. And trees.
yeah.
So that probably dates to when they put the addition on.
And that's been there for a while.
Oh, yeah. Since
Yeah.
70,
Yeah.
70 or 71? Well, that was just before we moved into town, so we moved in 72,
So
so.
we're getting close to
Yeah.
50 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
Understanding that that's serving this building, right?
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
Maybe it was a boulder and pipe system with large voids.
And native plants.
Yeah. Maybe they're really thirsty, so they're drinking it all up. All right,
Give him 1 point for that.
yeah, definitely.
well, it makes one wonder why the vegetation hasn't been.
Yeah.
Oh, I've looked at it
Well, if you had-
before, you know,
You
because I
plant willow
remember
trees down there, you
it
wouldn't
had
have a
been brought
problem.
up,
It's like
something
a-
about that leach field before, and I looked at it down over the hill and I went, kind of like a rain garden.
Yeah.
I just see that somehow that they're gonna have to combine it.
Yeah.
Um,
A new system for this and that.
Yeah, because
Which if, in reality.
When you-
that
when you
also
drag
should
it
be on the
out-
List for this, if you don't, whether they do anything or not.
you're dragging out the cost of a building times 2 over perpetuity. It's just, the cost just goes up.
Yeah.
the whole way.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously, it's been tough to get certain things approved. And approving two, expenditures that just go on is gonna be tough.
We did talk to Department of Agriculture, and I forget what the name of the program is, but they attempt to provide grants and loans, and/or loans to small communities, and we would certainly fall under the small community, but the median family income is too high.
Too high.
To be good for any loan, grants.
Well,
Loans, we could conceivably get a loan up to, they said up to 30 years, 30-year loan. But their interest rate was higher, almost one percentage point higher than the New Hampshire Bond Bank. But
Oh.
the New Hampshire Bond Bank only goes out for 25 years, they won't go to 30. So,
Well, like I said, we're gonna need to have them come in and see if, somehow it can be combined. And, obviously, trucks take up a lot of space. Police department obviously has been functioning on almost no space,
yeah.
and somewhere in between, we gotta make it work.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have a substation. If we got a new station or a safety complex, what would happen to the existing
The existing fire station.
Well, that's what I was thinking, if you put the police and the fire, because Mark was thinking about the rescue squad, well, then they could adapt to the existing fire station.
Well, I think you wanna have
Instead
them
of
both
having
in the
All in
everybody-
the
same,
same building.
you wanna have the fire and the rescue all in the same building. The question is, can the existing building be used for some sort of storage as opposed to like trying to get every single thing into a new building?
Oh,
But then again, you've got upkeep on a
you get the
building.
upkeep on that
You
building.
gotta upkeep on the building. So, and based on some of the things I were reading, they're saying some of the trucks are getting old and stuff like that. So, never mind a building, you're looking at equipment replacement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's considerable things that are gonna have to be considered, and, fiduciary, the one building for two departments is usually a pretty good thing.
We got a pumper replacement,
What was that, 600,000?
615,000.
Wasn't there like an ongoing plan for that?
Yeah, we're putting money into,
It's not gonna hit all at one year.
right, exactly.
Right. Yeah, it was that got voted on a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
And as far as the school, the numbers, you guys worked on that. So did the numbers show that the actual student population was going up?
There is I don't have the numbers in front of me.
No, I mean,
can send them
just-
to you, but
A percentage?
I couldn't give you that off the top of my head, but they are projected to go up.
Yeah?
I don't want to comment any more on that.
No, no,
without having it
that's
in
fine.
front
I
of me,
mean,
but,
I guess
I thought they actually went down a while back.
well, that's what I
They
just
recently-
remember
they
them
did a
saying that some of the
demographic
numbers
study.
went down,
They were
Yeah.
kind of,
kind of like level.
kind of flatlining, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously we got a lot to try to digest and,
What is our actual role in looking at these numbers as far as, do they need to have our approval before a warrant article can be put before the voters?
Basically, we're in a position to make recommendations for the CIP, and then the Budget Committee would be referring to the CIP to see if it's whatever's being proposed is listed in the CIP and as part of the CIP program itself. So if it's not on the CIP, then the budget committee would be in a position to say, well, no, we're not gonna approve it.
So our approval is for the CIP?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The courts have ruled that if a town does not have a CIP that they've planned for growth and payments on an ongoing basis, then we can't turn down a project because we can't afford it or because it's not affordable or buildable or whatever. That's court ruling in Beck versus Town of Raymond and in Lewis Builders versus Atkinson. It's important to have a capital improvements plan that shows the town is planning. What really irritates me is that we're paying for like 40 students that the law doesn't even require we have in the school. And according to the census figures, I went to Department of Revenue Administration and asked for the student population in the state of New Hampshire. And we're down 2,000 something in elementary school student population.
Statewide?
Statewide. That doesn't mean Rockingham or Hillsborough
Just the whole
is
state.
there. But that's the whole state. But even looking at Rockingham or looking at Deerfield, if you get those figures, we don't have the student population. When we built that school, we built for 500 students. We've added 8 classrooms and a cafeteria, with the classrooms holding 25 students. I realize we don't put 25 in a class,
No,
but,
That'd be too big.
I'm sorry?
That'd be too big. Be too many students.
I understand, Fred.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
Used to
But
have 30 when I was in school.
that's what the school was built
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
But you can't dictate to the school board that you will have 25 kids in each
understand.
classroom.
Yeah.
I've been able to do that in all the years I've been here, so I understand that.
I'd make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Excuse me. Wasn't there something posted about a meeting for anybody on Courier Road?
Oh,
It was
it was
canceled.
canceled.
Oh,
They canceled it today. I just found out about it today. They've asked for a continuation.
okay.
I'm sorry. I
Sorry
didn't
about that.
realize
How do we find out when it is?
It's going to, well, I haven't advised them.
They emailed today, okay?
Okay.
And they said that they weren't gonna be able to make it in. And I'm sorry that we didn't ask you why
Yeah,
you were
why you
here.
were here, I'm sorry too.
Marie, if you'd like, you could always call during the day and ask Jane
So,
Yeah,
Boucher. She's the secretary. She would know that before coming over.
I've got them tentatively scheduled for the 13th of November,
Okay,
and it will be posted again, but again, I haven't confirmed it with them.
okay.
what happened is that they're having a meeting in the town of Candia about it. Are you from Candia or Deerfield?
Technically, I'm Deerfield.
Okay. Okay.
She has to go to
Yeah, I know, you
Courier
gotta go
Road.
through Candia. Okay, but they are having a meeting, they're
Sorry.
having a meeting in Candia about the subdivision. And I think my email said the 25th.
That's yours.
Well, knowing that Courier Road is.
I'll look into Blake's Hill.
My
I
section
think
of
they
Courier
mean
Road is
Blake's
pretty
Hill
much
because that
maintained
has the
by
bridge.
Deerfield.
Perkins Road
Beginning
is a
of
dirt
it
road.
Is maintained by Candia.
Very
And then
small
they-
amount of houses on there.
I'm trying to figure out if they're
One,
gonna
two,
do something with that bridge on the other end of Courier Road.
No.
5, 6.
Now, right now, based on what I read in the email, is that the town of Candia asked for some more information, and they're gonna have to do some more research and planning.
But Brown Road.
So at this particular point, I don't know when they're coming
I told
back.
you, Brown Road is.
And I haven't,
supposed to
again,
improve
confirmed
the
it,
way
though.
the
All
transfer-
right, all those in favor of adjournance?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, and that might be shown on the map. Sylvia was
Okay.
suggesting.
So I apologize for not asking you that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Nobody would have known I was here for Courier Road.
I figured there was nothing on television, so you were just here for the fun.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I got signed some more
You got more
plans.
signing to do, buddy, yeah.
Well,
Don't you give me,
Oh,
yeah,
I
give me
know
that.
you are.
did that get
Fred's-
signed yet?
Fred signed his copy, but I
Okay.
need the copy of a timesheet.
Map that Joanne Lawson drew of
All right.
town roads.
Did you get your,
They
rolled, y'all
were
rolled?
discontinued.
Yeah, pretty much all done with that.
Okay.
You copy that. That'll give you some.
I could have stayed where I was till
Discontinued
8
road,
o'clock
but
if
I
I
do
could have
know
saw, so.
Brown Road was discontinued.
Could've
and
stayed.
to my
Can't see
knowledge,
anymore.
it's never been
Can't see.
Approved.
We're gonna really lose it
beyond the dump.
in a week and a half.
Okay, that is good to know.
Because if you
Alright.
drive
Well,
up there, you
you see the
know
big
to the dump is
brouhaha?
a beautiful road. We
Everybody's
did all
worried
the
about
way
Brady leaving.
Because of the dump.
It's been there
Having
20
to bring
years.
the big
Brady.
Brady, that was, that
trucks to
was
take
just,
the
yeah, I just thought.
Yeah, how many people stayed at job for 20 years?
I appreciate that.
I mean, you know,
That could have been lost.
Me.
wow. I've been doing the same thing for 20 years too. So actually longer than that, but.
I don't get paid with Tom Brady.
Like we usually do, and
Yeah, Bill, I'll call you and let you know.
Sit down with a
I've
map.
been running around doing other stuff, so
say what actually, what has been.
probably bring it back to my house.
Reality on these roads.
That definitely was discontinued
Okay.
beyond the dump.
Saturday.
These things,
Okay, I gave you back
Oh,
the map.
left the,
thank you.
I got so many papers here and I've got question marks on them, but apparently I'm not